It's magical. It's mysterious. You are powerless against its effects. Yes, that's right. It's mind control. Whatever are we going to do? I just have one question for the vast majority of the preppers in my audience. Just exactly how effing stupid are you? Seriously. I know that's not a nice way to lead off a video, but we've got to stop being nice to each other when we catch each other doing stupid stuff. I was on a football team in high school and I served in the military, and the best guys I had around me had absolutely no fear of grabbing me up and saying, "What the hell are you doing?" when I was messing up. And guys, you're messing up. This whole story that's been going around for the last few months about this rail strike has been fake. But this has been a perfect opportunity to teach psychological operations. And I have a perfect example for you. Anybody out there who's ever been a parent? Have you ever had a child who didn't want to go to bed because there were boogeymen, monsters under the bed, ghosts in the closet? Something went thump outside. Clearly, it's a monster. Now, which one of these types of persuasion did you have to use to get the child to go to bed? Logos? Just facts? No, of course not. You go in the room and you got a child that's freaked out because they think there's monsters in the closet. The idea of arguing with them logically about how that can't possibly be doesn't work. Pathos, the one way to the right, they're already consulting their feelings. They're not thinking, they're children. That's what got you into the problem in the first place. What do you have to do? You have to use ethos, the one in the middle. Ethos means the child should put aside their own feelings and believe you simply because you're their parent and that you would never let anything bad happen to them. Pretty simple example, isn't it? Every parent has done it. Believe in me, I will protect you, ethos, and the child goes to bed. Now you can turn on the lights and you can look under the bed all you want, but the reason that they're going to bed and they're going to go to sleep is because they believe in you. Psychological Operations 101. Everybody's done it. Now, what if you wanted to do that black hat? Do it in reverse, not to a child, of course, but in your adult life. Have the ability to make people believe things simply because you said them. What kind of an advantage would that give you? Would it be worth $1 a month to you to learn how to do this? To learn how to spot it when other people are doing it and call it out, and maybe run a operation of your own to countermand it. Would that be worth it to you? It's even less than $1 a month if you sign up for an entire year, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. We put up a brand new video just literally a matter of about an hour ago outlining this ridiculous story about the fake make-believe rail crisis that never was. Last June, there was this little tweet put out about how there was an authorization for rail workers to say 100 days we're gonna not work unless we get this, and this. Last June, and nobody said a word about it. Summer went on, and some people started to talk about it. Oh, it's coming. It could be bad. And then, of course, the last few weeks, the mainstream media reports rail strike looming. And everybody, every prepper, every hoarder, every survivalist, every end of the world group decides they're going to go to their favorite news organization and say, "Can you comment on this? Can you cover this story?" It was garbage. It was a lie from the beginning. Fear, talked about this yesterday, has been the original parent of superstition, and every new calamity urges trembling mortals to deprecate the wrath of their actual invisible enemies. U.S. could see first major rail strike in 30 years. How dumb are you? If this were the case, the military would have been called up nearly immediately. The rail system in this country is a national security issue. It's how we move the military around, if we have to. By rail. How many people have seen the videos where endless cars full of jeeps and trucks and tanks and all this stuff? The military has the ability to run the rail system in this country. If there was going to be a shutdown, there would have been call-ups of reservists and National Guardsmen all over this country, and you'd have been seeing tweets and comments and all sorts of social media activity talking about people getting ready to be called up to run the rail system in the case of a national emergency. Did you see any of that? No. Not one unit. Not one person. Think about that for 1 minute. Whenever the spirit of fanaticism, at once so credulous and so crafty, has insinuated itself into a noble mind, it insensibly corrodes the vital principles of virtue and veracity. What this basically means in a nutshell is when you're crazy for something, you won't know the truth. This was announced in June. This is 15 June. 115,000 railroad workers across the world could launch a strike in 90 days. This was all set up by the Biden administration to give him a big win going right into a midterm. Now look, this is 15. If you don't believe me, this is Thursday, 15 September. Failure wasn't an option here. How Biden navigated a political and economic minefield at a critical moment in rail negotiations. That's today, 15 September. Guess what else is today? 1 second. AP. They had this ready to go. This is 2 hours ago. Biden approval rises sharply ahead of midterms, AP North Pole. This is today, Washington AP. Support for Biden recovered from a low of 36 in July to 45%, driven in large part by a rebound in support from Democrats just 2 months before. Really? With gasoline coming down and this on top of it? Guys, I don't mean to be overly mean here, but come on. This was an easy one. It would have been so easy to debunk. There was no way the government was just going to let the rail system shut down in this country. It's a national security issue. The military can run our rail system without any outside help. It has been that way for a long time. It's been that way since before the Eisenhower was built. The rail system predates that by 100 years. This is vital infrastructure. Remember Reagan with the air controllers? Pardon me there, one more time. This was PSYOPs. PSYOPs 101. They used people that are normally not so much a big fan of Joe Biden to promote Joe Biden's agenda. You just got used. You just got played. Everybody who reported this, everybody said, oh, be afraid, gave it credibility, gave it reality, gave it legs, gave the story all sorts of play, when it was never real. It was never real. But preppers, survivalists, hoarders, they have only a very few tools in their toolbox. They have a hammer, maybe a screwdriver, maybe a wrench. And when somebody announces, we've discovered an entire area of nails that are not pounded down, guess what they're going to go run and do? They're just going to go grab the hammer out of their toolbox without actually verifying the story, because of fear and fanaticism, because they want to believe the bad news. Because they want to believe the bad news. And they just used it to give Biden a 10-point bump. Not a peep from the military. Nobody. The entire rail system of the United States was going to shut down, and you don't think the military would have been involved in that? I mean, come on. Magical, unavoidable, ethereal mind control. It's just not that complicated. Anybody who's ever had a kid knows. Once they're upset, Logos is out the door. Once anybody truly is kicked out of their logical brain and into some state of emotion, pathos needs some level of ethos to walk them back. Because once people start reacting emotionally to this and that and the other, somebody's going to have credibility with them. Trump takes advantage of this all the time. Ethos. People just believe it because he says it. They'll even believe facts that aren't facts because he says they're facts. And everybody I've listened to with this whole story, we don't believe the mainstream media. We don't believe the mainstream media. Did anybody check the story? The mainstream media has been reporting this for weeks. Did anybody check the story and try to debunk it? No. Of course not. Why? Because it fed into their fears. Oh, rail strike shut down, more supply chain hiccup. Yes, we know we automatically have to believe that every time it's been told us. And if there's any good news out there, we're sure as heck not going to talk about that, because there's no good news at all. Forget what's happened to gas prices, but nevertheless. This is the idea of PSYOPs. When you see herds behaving in certain ways, you don't need a very aggressive dog if the dog is smart and he knows how to kind of keep an eye on what they're doing so he can get them moving a certain way and doing a certain thing. See, the dog isn't bigger than the cattle. The dog isn't bigger than the herd of sheep. He's just a hell of a lot smarter. That's what PSYOPs is. It's a tool you have to understand. It's not a luxury anymore. This, studying psychology and sociology was put into the first year of college education as a requirement for a reason. And so many skip the class, do the cliff notes on the class, they don't pay attention in the class. This was the basis and fundamental of my MOS in the Army. You either understood this or you just wouldn't have been able to succeed in military intelligence. This is basic. This is fundamental. This is 101. When I was before the internet. Now, with as fast as information can get around, you have to know this. Logos, ethos, pathos, the 24 cognitive biases, the 24 logical fallacies. These are things you have to know, or you're just going to be a victim. And I guess I'll leave it there. Would love to have you join us. Like I said, we have a brand new video up today that breaks all of this down and shows you exactly what they did, why they did it, how they did it. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.